Welcome to Leadership, the secret sauce, where extraordinary coaches and leaders reveal what makes them exceptional. We're your hosts, Dave Lipsky and Matt Dodson. Together, let's discover our guest's secret sauce. Today's episode is brought to you by Character Matters Coaching and Consulting. At Character Matters, we believe great leadership isn't just about results. It's about who you become along the way. From career transitions to team building, we help leaders unlock clarity, build resilience, and lead authentically. Because when character grows, impact follows. Visit charactermatterscoaching.com. Today's episode is supported completely unofficially by a community we deeply believe in, the International Coaching Federation's Coaching in Organizations. If you're building or leading an internal coaching program, this is where your people find their people. It's a space to swap real stories, sharpen your craft, and stay connected to what's emerging in our field. If you haven't joined yet, take a moment to sign up and plug into the conversations shaping the future of organizational coaching. Your community is waiting, and they're ready to learn with you. Go to coachingfederation.org/coaching-in-organizations-inquiry to get started.
All right, welcome into our audience. We're so glad to have you here today. Today we're going to be sitting down with Magda Mook. She is the CEO of ICF, for those of you who are familiar with her already. So we're going to get to her story, some of the challenges that she faces, some of things that she's learned along the way. I think you really want to stick around. But before I turn it over to Dave, I would just ask that you would subscribe and like this episode so that we can pick up more listeners, at least identify our listeners, and get more guests on the show. So, Dave, who do we have?
I would love to welcome in Magda. And we usually like to start out with an energy and introduction question. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 low, 10 high, what is your energy level at the present time?
That would be about 12 because I'm going to have to go and yell at my construction people.
12 is a good score. Yeah. And Matt, where are you?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a 9 right now. Yeah, definitely. Maybe 9.5. I think I'm on my third cup of coffee. This may be dangerous, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm at a 9.75 and rising. I feel like I need to get up to Magda's level to keep up. So question is, you are on a plane, train, or automobile, and a person who doesn't know you leans over and says, Magda, hi, I'm David. What do you do? How do you describe that?
That's a very good question, which I've been in this business with ICF for 20 plus years and in association management for 25 years. And it's still very difficult to explain. I run a large association of professional coaches. And what does it mean? It means that ICF is the largest global association for professional coaches and everything coaching, really. So our stakeholders are organizations using coaching, people interested in coaching, people utilizing coaching. And my job as a CEO is to, of course, lead the very talented team of the employees for ICF, to liaise very closely with the board of directors, which is the governing body for the ICF, and it's comprised of the volunteers, professional coaches, and to help shape the strategy for the ICF, which frankly is a very robust agenda, because we're not only serving professional coaches, but we are shaping the future of the profession of coaching and the entire field. It's been fun.
Amen. Yeah, actually, okay, Magda, I have tons of questions, but personally, we kind of are really interested in your story. So, our podcast, Leadership, the Secret Sauce, we want to know, as we get started, how would you describe your secret sauce?
I think adaptability and openness with curiosity with openness. That's probably the answer. Because as we all probably experience, rarely we make plans that go through exactly how we imagined. I was born and raised in Poland, educated in Poland and in Copenhagen, Denmark. My formal education, undergraduate degree in economics, master's degree in international relations. You don't see coaching there at all, right? Neither did I. And let alone did I consider that I'll be living in the United States. So the story evolved quite significantly from me getting a job still in Poland with U.S. federal government, moving to the States, working for the feds, working for other not-for-profits, eventually landing the job with the ICF, not because of coaching, but because of my very vast international experience. And ICF being at that point really becoming a global organization that it's definitely is right now. That was the skill that was looked after. Since I've been trained as a coach, I would identify myself as leader using coaching skills. I frankly running ICF, it's a $35 million business, so I do not have necessarily time to have a coaching practice. However, I am definitely using coaching approach working with my team. So there were many twists and turns in my professional and personal history. So if not for adaptability, curiosity, and openness, I don't know. I could have ended up somewhere very different. And frankly, I'm very happy where I am.
Can you tell our audience a little bit about how you discovered those things? Like, so you came to ICF, it was in its wild and woolly days, and you're like, hey, look, these are the skills that are needed. Or did someone just say, Magda, you seem to be able to manage these rebels together? Like, you know, we are unique. Coaches we are a unique breed. How did that happen?
Yeah, when I first joined ICF, we were a very different organization. About 8,000 members, we're 62,000 members, predominantly North American. Right now, less than half of our membership resides in North America. We had, I want to say, 1,200 credential coaches. We're at 65,000 credential coaches. And my favorite statistic, there were 5 of us, staff persons, 5. Right now, there are 125. So that's a little bit different scale. And that was, I think we all, the original team, we grew with the organization, or the organization grew with us. 5, you can imagine that we were in everybody's business. We all did everything because we had to. There was no way that one could just specialize in something because there were needs that had to be responded to. Are coaches special? Of course they are. But when you are in association management business, which is a professional field, not everybody appreciates that. Association management is a real business. Every association is special. Every stakeholder is special. I find working with coaching and coaches very rewarding, because that curiosity, that openness that I mentioned before as a part of a special sauce, that shows in working with coaches. So frankly, at the very beginning, we had to make, well, at the very beginning, we just had to survive. Let's just put it that way. Coaching was not well understood. Coaching was not well received. There were all these conversations about, oh, it's a fad, it's gonna go away, you know. I remember that one of the very first strategic decisions that we made was to find the language to describe coaching. Because my first probably year, we described coaching by what it was not. No, it's not counseling. No, it's not consulting. No, it's not psychology. No, it's not therapy. No, 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 rather than having a language to describe coaching. So I think that was, and of course, the typical question, what sport? Coaching, what sport? Then it was like, oh, those big buses, right? No, And then it would be like, oh, that fashion brand, like the cute little bags, right? No. So again, no, no, no. And then we said like, okay, that was one of those turning points, right? That rather than finding a better no, we said we have to have a language to describe who we are, what we do, and what coaching can do for individuals, organizations, and systems. So I think and along the years, every single year, well, more often than once a year, we had to make a strategic decision. What's next that would put coaching on the map? What's next to give credibility to coaching? Many people believe that ICF was created to give community to coaches. That's not entirely true. I had a great opportunity and good fortune to meet some original members of and the founders of ICF, and their idea was to give credibility to coaching. So being true to that direction, we've been trying and still do that, is to maintain credibility that we with the professional coaches managed to build.
Magda, can you share for our audience, if you ever want to also listen to another early ICF days, we also had a podcast with Marsha Reynolds, and so she shared some stories. But maybe you could just share a story of a moment you thought, "Wow, this could be a great success or a defining failure," because I do think ICF has really come a long way in a very short period of time. But could you share something that you always think back either fondly or like, oh, that was tough?
Well, I will use the relatively recent example 6 years ago, right? Relatively recent. When we decided to change the structure of ICF from one rather homogeneous organization to the family organizations, introducing CIO, introducing thought leadership, separating credentialing from coaching education, maintaining strong core of professional coaches, and of course, keeping up with the offerings of the foundation. It took us about 3 years of deep research and very good due diligence that was provided by the board. And then it was like, okay, we decided to pull the trigger. Brilliant timing, beginning of 2020. And then pandemic happened. And that was a very, very important decision that I'm very proud of the board because we said, okay, we have to stop everything. We have to pivot. We have to be here to support our members with what they need the most now. And it's not the restructure. And the board said, no, we're pausing, but we're not abandoning the project. It took us so long to get there. We're going to go ahead after we understand a little bit better our reality. And yeah, it could have been a spectacular failure. Especially under the circumstances. Just last year, as we originally planned, we did the external review of the success or a failure of this initiative, coming out with great success. And yes, we grew substantially during the pandemic. Many respondents to the interviews that this external consultant did said that if not for the restructure, we probably wouldn't survive, or we wouldn't be as far ahead as we are right now. So yeah, it was. I would not say that there was a roll of a dice. Not at all. It was very well researched. It was very well documented. It was based on good predictions. It was not a flippant idea, right? And yet, the circumstances, especially the external circumstance of COVID, could have derailed us rather spectacularly.
I want to go. I so appreciate you sharing those stories, and I hear the adaptability, curiosity, and openness. And I'm wondering, as a leader, as coach, as you described, How do people experience that, the adaptability, curiosity, openness?
So I'm for once, I'm definitely not a micromanager. My philosophy is that I hire really good people and they do their job. I'm always there for them. I'm a thought partner. And yes, I can be a hammer if I see things maybe straying from the original plan. I think how people experience my leadership is I love, sometimes I say I love to be wrong, meaning that I have an idea about something and then one of my colleagues would convince me to do either different thing or do things differently. I love it. I love, experiencing different ways of doing things. And what I am systems thinker. Um, and I love that part because we are a system. ICF is a system. Coaching is a system. So connecting the dots is something that I really thrive at, and this is what I'm inviting my colleagues to do as well. Let's connect the dots. Let's see leverage points that maybe do not exist in a linear thinking. And my favorite is: are we asking the right question? Because sometimes we're just so focused on something, saying like, wait a moment, that's not gonna get us where we want. We need to just explore what's happening on the periphery of our vision, and including coaching. For the longest time, you probably observed the gentlemen being credential coaches, that there were certain things that you had to do to renew your credential. We expanded it dramatically because what builds coach's ability to be a brilliant coach is not necessarily just core competencies. And that to some extent illustrates my philosophy. Let's look at the periphery of what's core, and we can find some jewels, we can find some diamonds that allow us to move forward in a different way.
Magda, can you tell us, so it was probably, I don't know, probably between the last 4 to 6 years, an explosion of coaching, especially from this democratized coaching platform. And I don't know if that trend has even, it's a little waned. I know that seems to be from my sort of exposure to corporations. What do you think is next for that explosion of coaching? As you see it, is it were we at our peak in terms of interest of people signing up thinking they could do it? And then are the people that are still with us, those are the true coaches? How do you see that?
As I said, I've been with ICF for, it's going to be 21 years this year. Sometimes people ask me, because it's quite not typical anymore that somebody is with the same organization for so long. But my answer is that this ICF is not the same organization month to month, let alone year to year. So it's very different. To your question, for probably good 10 years, I've been watching for signals of the line flattening. It's not. We continue to grow. We continue to add new members and enjoy welcoming new members to ICF. And I think that there are two reasons for it. One is that the maturity of coaching markets are quite different around the globe. And we are a very global organization. We have members in 157 countries. Some of the regions are still rapidly growing. Others are still growing, maybe not at the same pace. And the reason for it, though, I think is that we have adaptability, especially at the corporate organizational level. When I first started, and probably first several years, coaching was afforded only to C-suite. Now, based on our own research, ICF's research, coaching culture in organization means that coaching is available to just anybody within the organization. And if not anybody, then definitely high potentials, definitely new managers, definitely onboarding, definitely. So the pie is growing. right? So the demand for coaching is growing, which naturally results in availability of coaching engagements for more people. What we also see is that more and more leaders and managers do appreciate having coaching skills to respond to the demand of very different style of leadership, also with younger people joining workforce and expecting something very different than command and control that existed for, well, decades in a business environment. So frankly, I was recently talking to a colleague, and we're just talking about the same question: Are we gonna stop, seeing the growth? And he goes like, "Heck no! Think about it. If you look into per capita number of coaches, we're nowhere to where we need to be. Think about the doctors, teachers, counselors. We're nowhere to that level. So we still have a beautiful space to grow, and I believe we will."
I wanted to congratulate you for reaching drinking age tenure with ICF. I think
Hey, it's 18 in Europe. It's 18.
it's 18. You passed it. Yeah, I reached drinking age 3 times when they changed it to 18, 19, 21. So congratulations on that. Before you had said what's next to give credibility to coaching is like the early question, and it came up at a recent conference of like, how do we continue to professionalize? What are some of the things on your radar around that?
I did mention that I'm a systems thinker. I'm also a systems coach. I've been trained in systemic coaching. And I think that this is a time for us to look into systemic impact of coaching. I think individual coaching is absolutely brilliant, and yet it's maybe a little bit over ambitious to hope and think that individuals without the scale can influence their respective environments to the level that they would love to see that impact. So I think approaching things systemically may be the next way of showing the phenomenal transformational power of coaching. And we see early signs of it. For example, there is a whole initiative started by Rice University, really, with bringing coaching to education, right? We see very significant inroads with coaching applied to healthcare systems. We, ICF, have a brilliant project going on with the government of India to support development of managerial and leadership skills in publicly owned enterprises. We are also in conversation with Institute of Coaching and several other organizations about coaching at the intersection of mental well-being. These are systemic approaches of coaching that I think are we're ready for it. We're ready for it, and I think the universe is ready for us to see that. So that's one. The other one, of course, is AI and how AI is supporting human coaching. Yet, I think the future of coaching is human, for sure. The scale with AI, I think that's absolutely brilliant, because a lot of what AI supported coaching does is transactional. But many people who are new to coaching only know what to do is transactional. That may whet their appetite for more transformational, which is left to the human coach. And the Marsha probably told you that, Dr. Reynolds, that at the very beginning, when ICF was first created, the founding mothers and fathers insisted of the name being international. And somebody said, "How are we going to do it?" And the answer was, "We don't know, but we believe it's going to be a global phenomenon." And it is. So I think that continuing seeing coaching, for example, Middle East, I was surprised with the adaptability of coaching in the Middle East. And my second biggest surprise was, frankly, Africa. Because of such a strong community culture there, I did not think that coaching will show up as strongly and as quickly as it is in Africa. So it is a global phenomenon, and I think that as we are, we also work hand in hand. One last point with HR. ICF is a member of the organization called World Federation of People Management Associations, because HR and coaching do go hand in hand. We can support each other, we can learn from each other. So this is another systemic opportunity to, through HR connection, to be available and present in many more organizations and institutions around the globe.
Magda, you know what? I'm not even at my conclusion yet for all these questions, but one of the things that you just sort of like, your perspective is very positive for all of these changes in terms of expanding coaching. So for our listeners, that if you are worried that coaching is going to get smaller because of HI, or coaching is going to get smaller because democratized platforms have seen their peak, it's not true. And it hasn't been true for 20 plus years that it's been.
Well, for
Yeah.
ICF,
Yeah.
30 years, right? ICF was created in 1995. No, it's not true. I think this is again back to adaptability, curiosity, and openness. Find the other way. Find the other application. When I first started, the conversation about internal coaching didn't even exist. Team coaching, group coaching, mentor coaching, maybe supervision, not so much. So and now the application of AI, and it may be another new thing that we just need to be open to, rather than protect the territory. You need to protect territory, and I think that we always ask ourselves the question: how far can we stretch without breaking? And when, I know that this is a little blasphemous, but coaching emerged from other disciplines. What if something else emerges from coaching? That'll be great. Coaching will remain, but we may give a nudge, maybe, to another discipline showing up. I think that would be great. Let's not protect the territory at the expense of not growing it.
Yeah, you know what? I think the three of us, were at the Institute of Coaching conference this last, and I found that the emergence of more discussion around being fully integrated with AI, and more discussion around the health and well-being side of coaching was far more common, and was more part of what people were talking about, rather than, oh, here's this new thing. And I really think that's a interesting development. And then the other piece that you had mentioned is around this whole systemic, because I actually had somebody ask me, how does this work to create the culture inside of this? So I work on big major capital projects. How are you doing that? What I see is this and this. You put them together and it creates this coaching culture. Yeah. I find that to be fascinating development.
Yeah, another facet of it is we also work very closely with another organization, which is the Association of Change Management Professionals. There is a beautiful not overlap, which is great, but how coaches can use change management theory, and how change management professionals can use coaching for the better outcome of their project. So again, periphery, which makes the toolkit for professional coach so much more rich, and they can offer it to their clients for the better outcome.
It sounds like you really paid attention in school when you studied international relations.
Yep, I was an A student. Yes,
You're a student. So are you? Are you still in that business?
I cannot help but to be in that business. 157 countries represented in ICF. I absolutely love this facet of the organization. Just yesterday, I was reading a manuscript of a book that a colleague of mine is writing about culture in coaching, especially in high context societies. And the headline that she used, which caught my attention immediately, was "Culture is data, not noise." Me being a Polish born and raised person living in the States, uh, yeah, that resonates a lot because I think generally we're more alike than not. And again, curiosity about other cultures rather than, but not losing your own identity. That's another very important piece. I think that, sometimes we try to fit in. You are who you are and be proud of it. Just be respectful of other cultures and be curious about other cultures, and you learn a lot, and people can learn from you, and that's beautiful.
Magda, if you had to design your ideal coach, what qualities would they absolutely have to have?
So I'm coach junkie. I love working with different coaches, and I typically, when I do work with the coach, and I pretty much all the time work with a coach, I choose very different people, just for me to learn different styles, just for me to work with other people. I work with coaches from other cultures and other countries as well. So I love coaches. Well, I love systemic approach. So I do, for me it's very important that we're never just focused on one thing. We're traveling, a world during coaching sessions. That's something that I very much appreciate in a coach. Thought partner, dealing with a little bit of a crazy, stretchy thinking. I like that.
And maybe you could share with us. So you had mentioned like reading a manuscript. So someone like, what's some unconventional resources? Or you're always reading manuscripts and someone saying, "Hey, Magda, will you endorse this book for us?" What do you like to listen to or read or pay attention to if you get to choose?
Yeah, I am asked quite frequently to endorse a book, and I know it's probably not super popular, but I will never endorse the book that I didn't read. So I read the books for two reasons. One, because I think that's respectful of the writer. Second, I don't want to endorse something that I don't agree with. And third, if somebody asks me, "So what did you really think about the book?" I need to know rather than agreeing to a couple of lines that somebody might send me. They are great. Actually, I like that because many of those new books, in our field, somebody either already wrote the book, is thinking about the book, writing a book, or is writing a book right now. So there is plenty, but some are really cutting edge or really expanding the view of what coaching is and what coaching can do. So I love reading the manuscripts. But it's, and I said it already before, I love being just a little bit outside of coaching, thinking of what can benefit from coaching and conversely what coaching can benefit from. um, I well, my brother is an architect, so we often talk about architects. Some, just seeing, go to Barcelona, see all the Gaudi stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, right? And it's not the building, it's not Sagrada Familia. It's thinking that went into designing it. It's the bold statements of changing the design that was already developed. And how do you convince others to allow you to do it? So I love movies. I love music. So I'm just trying to pick on those different things. You never know when a brilliant idea just starts formulating because you saw something, you heard something, or you were in a conversation that challenged your point of view. I
Yeah.
love it.
Magda, you remind me of like Herb Kelleher, the former CEO of Southwest Airlines, that thought he would take NASCAR racing as a way to speed up the time between flights. Actually, that's a very clever way. So yeah, looking for analogs. Dave, what's your reflection on everything Magda has shared?
Yeah, the words that keep resonating in my mind are systems and territory. And I think, it's sometimes in our field, in multiple fields, we can be territorial, right? And we have to be able to use the things that you'd said, that openness and adaptability and curiosity, to expand what the territory can be. So I love the idea of looking at change management, of HR practices, of larger systems. So I really appreciate you bringing that perspective.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I think the biggest thing is I feel like I have been reminded that if you're in coaching at this point in time, you're you're at the ground floor. There's so much more to be. So that is exciting, especially post democratized, post AI and coaching. And you think,
Mm-hmm.
well, how much bigger? But if you look over the last 30 years, it can continue to expand.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're still young. We're still a young profession. We got a lot to do, but also I do think that we're still stretching.
Magda, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Like if they wanted to reach out to you, is it LinkedIn? Is it?
LinkedIn definitely, and also people can email me. It's very conspicuous. Our email addresses, it's first name last name dot last name at coachingfederation.org. So magda.mook at coachingfederation.org. And I love to hear from everybody.
So just as a full disclosure, ICF CIO is our only podcast sponsor, and we do that as a charity because we really believe in it. For any of our listeners, if you have not yet attended a Converge, I totally recommend it. It surprised me in terms of just as a solopreneur, about the community feel and the willingness for other people to share what was going on.
Mhm.
Unreal. So this next one is coming up in the late October timeframe in 2026. It will be in Washington, D.C. And then, of course, in the following year in May, it will be in Berlin. So
Yes.
if you have an opportunity, I really encourage you to consider that.
Very much so. It's going to be a great event in DC and then in Berlin and in Denver later in a year next year. We're very much looking forward to it. We have great lineup. Actually, for DC, you can see the whole program already posted on our website, coachingfederation.org. And I love Converges because they are a great celebration of the profession and of the community that we form.
And a shameless plug for Dave and I, our session is on Thursday morning at 9:00. If you want to actually, if you can't make it and you want to actually be the virtual, we just encourage you in any way of really listening. I think a lot of not just Dave and I, but of course we know you'd want to listen to Dave and I for more time. But we are going to be talking about what leaders really want from coaches. So I would just also encourage you to stay tuned. We are going to be interviewing some of these leaders that will fill our content for what leaders really want from coaches. And so we're going to bring them on the podcast in the next couple of weeks. So you'll probably see that. We will also be doing something we did last year. We actually had CIO After Dark, that we recorded at the conference in cooperation and partnership with Robert Garcia and Catherine Lord. Catherine will come back to our podcast and we will have some very interesting internal coaches and discovering their secret sauce, as well as sort of highlighting the themes of the conference. So we know you won't want to miss that. That's something that Dave and I we really love to do because we love to spend time with coaches. So yes. Dave, anything else here before we sign off?
I just want to thank Magda so much. The organization ICF has given me increased purpose in the last 15 years, and I look forward to the next 15. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for being such gracious hosts for me to hear.
All right, until then. Thanks for listening. If you love this podcast, please share it with another coach or leader. Make sure you go to the show notes to get all the resources from today's episode.